Yay! Welcome, everyone. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to a beautiful day for psychic work. It is Imish in the Mayan sacred calendar today. So I made sure to go for my ocean swim this morning because Imish is the day sign of water, but really the ocean and dolphins and all these wonderful nahuals, these spirit guides. So everything's alive. Everything is full of life and wisdom and consciousness and medicine and miracles and wonderful things that we can all enjoy if we slow down and come into the moment where all of our senses are alive, awake, attuned, because we have to drop out of the fear. So I'm going to take 1 second to plug in my headphones. I had been hearing the sound was better without them, but someone mentioned something. So let's try that. Please say something in the chat if you can't hear me. Well, I'll turn it up. It was down a little bit there. Okay. All right. So namaste. Hi, Deb. Oh my goodness, Deb. Yeah, you're so, it's so interesting. I've known Deb for a while and we've worked together for a while. So it's like we walk a path together, right? My students, my clients, I've had such a blessed week this last week connecting with people from the last retreat and how deep everybody is going into their transformation. And what's so beautiful is how everyone is just being in it. You know, they're absorbing it and then they're taking action on whatever comes up and then they're being with it and letting it unfold. And often we want to know, what's the lesson? What's the answer? Where's the manifestation? Why is this here? This is part of the beauty of understanding we live in a spiral universe. We heal in a spiral. We learn in a spiral. We live in a spiral. We manifest in a spiral. Everything's a spiral. So we live in cycles and it's not a circle. We never come back to the same place as the same person. But all of that exists because time is the fourth dimension. It's another dimension. And that means you can enter it and experience it and move through it. And a lot of what we're realizing now is the magnificence of our power. Truly, past like hoping, is it true? And how many years do I have to meditate? And everything we've been doing, like Deb, wow, such an incredible, beautiful spiritual being, because so committed to your path, so I don't want to use that word, focused on, where am I and what's calling me and how do I hear my guides and how do I understand the guidance of the moment and how do I know in this moment what is my next best step. And, we are so conditioned to constantly run around trying to make it happen, reassess it, count it, look at it, report what we see. We have to stop being reporters of what we see. We have to start to be speakers, storytellers, creators, weavers of the tapestry of time. And who better than to guide us with that than grandmother wisdom? So much unfolding, and I'm going to be sharing more with you over the next few weeks of everything that's transpired for me and for my students and the amazing experiences, of course, we always have, and what's also coming now. My integration has been very intense. I love all of it. So when I say that, you don't be like, oh, I'm sorry or anything like that. No, don't send me any sorry energy, any pity energy. I'm not poor. I don't have bad luck. I am fabulously happy and love my life. And it's important that every word you speak is what you want to live, because it's a boomerang right now. It is not just that we're realizing that our words have power. And yes, if you're like, oh, I want to manifest this house, that's a kind of an easy thing to imagine. Okay, I want to buy this house and I like these things about it, and this is what I like, and this is where I want to live, and right, all that, and you start to manifest it. So if you've ever bought a house or rented a fabulous place to live, and you were part of the intention of it, because sometimes spirit will lead us somewhere we didn't know, and we love it too. But everything on the path does not deserve the judgment that we give it, does not need the deep introspection. And we definitely no longer want to be locked into plans, 5-year plans, 10-year plans. Things change so fast right now, and we are completing the snake year, all the medicine of the serpent, the transformation, the kundalini, which is our personal life force. And our life force needs to be balanced, but we can't balance it when we're afraid of our power and our voice. When we're still thinking we're doing something wrong, we have something to complete, it's going to take us time, I have to go back and fix that or finish that. What if you just wiped the slate clean? What if you just pushed everything off your desk, energetically, mentally, emotionally, and you just sat with that empty space? How powerful is that? The eternal moment is so humorous to me that I talk about this now, because I so didn't get this. I have been studying spiritual stuff for 40 years personally in this body, and countless lives. My purpose in this life, from many different human designs and Western astrology, and most profoundly for me at the moment, the Mayan birth chart, is that I am Ish and I am Kawak, and they're both pure sacred feminine. And my purpose is to transform and to bring great wisdom of how to transform to the planet through the sacred feminine, and to work with Ishmukane, the earth mother, jaguar, grandmother, and who will probably be talking to us today, because wow, they've all come back big time. And when you get a little wisdom like that, maybe you had an astrology reading or an astrocartography reading, or you learned something about yourself through some system. Now, you don't need to know them all. Be careful what they tell you. Don't get stuck inside of parameters like, well, I can't do that because this personality test told me blah. Okay, these are not for you to surrender your power to. These are to give you gifts and windows into things that if you knew them and you actually said, wait a minute, what does that mean? Maybe you instantly say, oh, as Ish, I'm a shaman. I am a sacred feminine embodiment on the earth. I'm a priestess. I'm a high priestess. I'm all these things that have to do with teaching and embodying and understanding and sacrificing yourself for the earth, for the wisdom of the divine. We all have this release that's been happening for, I think, for about 15 to 20 years, very, very quickly, of what I call the burned at the stake syndrome. So, as specifically as vivid and kind of shocking is to say, if you have an actual memory of a life of being burned at the stake, or when you learned about all the incredible amounts of women that were killed for all kinds of crazy reasons, you cooked really good muffins, you must be evil, let's burn you now. Drowned, hung, on and on, okay? All the way down to then think about other forms of restriction, control, and retribution. What we have to do right now, what's on our plate, what we came here to do, we made an agreement to be here. The mission is clear. We're here at an accelerated moment, and this is the moment to take action. This is the moment to mature spiritually. This is the moment to step out of your pod of wounds, because they're very powerful and they're very informative and they're full of all kinds of pearls. But if you keep the clam shut, you can't use the pearl. You need to say, it's time for me. Take the pearls and let the rest go. These aspects of the mother, the goddess in many forms, the sacred feminine, the divine feminine, are so key right now. And we've been hearing, the sacred feminine, we have to bring back the feminine, we have to bring back the polarity, the yin yang, all the way from a very scientific way of balancing the meridians in your body, or balancing your kundalini life force here, the Kyopa in your blood, the lightning in your blood, the wisdom in your blood, because we've shut it down. And we've shut it down across the planet, men and women, because of this fear of retribution, because of so many years and so much literal physical pain and death, killing of us, our families, burning your house down, a million other things, then to just threats, then to financial control, then to removing women's rights, removing them from being able to have education, removing them to have a vocation. I mean, there was not that long ago, if you were a woman in America and you were raised, you were told, well, you can be a nurse or a secretary until you find a husband. And there's some very really good storytelling happening now that are showing how women who got pregnant out of wedlock were treated just horrifically, sometimes put in mental institutions, made to be servants that weren't paid, basically slaves. The children were taken away from them. Just on and on and on. We could go forever on the horrors that we've done to each other. But what's the point? If we keep telling the story, we create it again. If we don't heal the wound, we create it again. If we carry it around as part of our identity or part of what we let hold us back or our mental state, then we are going to repeat it again. We aren't going to repeat it the same way. It will manifest differently, but don't fool yourself. You live in a spiral, and that spiral cycles. Look at the moon. You go from full moon to full moon very quickly. You go from full moon to new moon, the opposites, very quickly. That's 2 weeks. Every moment you are dying to who you were, and the sacred feminine, the wisdom of the grandmother, the wisdom of the goddess, the purpose of the grandmother is the wise one. And this is the time of the prophecies of all cultures of the wise ones gathering again. And I believe you and I are those wise ones. We are the ones that we've been thinking about, looking for. And guess what? We're here. And we have everything we need. And we can literally just say, no, I'm not going to give my power, give my time, give my mental thought processes, give my emotions to that story, those fears, that abuse, this trauma, whatever it is. And no one is telling you it wasn't hard. No one is telling you that you don't deserve a big hug. Yet telling the story and carrying it around is only going to create more of it. I don't want any more of it. Do you want any more of it? I don't want more world of war. I don't want more world of torture. I don't want more world of restrictions, retributions, judgments. But look at what's happened. We feel like we're very modern, and yet we still have cultures that carry weird superstitions about the snake being a devil. But there's only one culture that said there was a devil. They created it. Let's not go down that road. So when I first got into the goddess world and the Wiccan world and understood deeper and deeper what has happened to the sacred feminine, the wisdom of the matriarchy, not women better than men, but not imbalanced the way it is now. But we're not going back to imbalance. We're finding the center. And guess what? The great divine feminine, get your head out of people. It's not a girl and a boy, a woman and a man. It's not men against women. It's not women being better than men. It's not all men are bad. It's not all women are good. It's not any of that. The body you're in has certain capacities, but right now we are evolving into a being that can manifest and operate our body, our physical vehicle, even in ways that it is not designed for in 3D physics. Your eyes can only see certain things, can't see certain colors, can't see certain patterns. You can't hear things dogs can hear. You can't see things bugs can see. You can't pick up things that an ant could pick up, right? If ratio of body to weight, you can't jump like a cat. It's just the limits of our body. But our spirit and our soul and our mind and our spiritual capacity, the blueprint we came with, is standing in front of us now saying, time. Okay? Spirituality is not just an inner transformation. It now needs to come through your words, through your thoughts, through your choices, through what you do every day, how you do it every day. How do you go to work? How do you talk to people? And guess what, guys? We have to let go of all judgment. We have to forgive. And what do we have to do to forgive? We have to accept. They're on the same state of consciousness. In order to forgive or be forgiven or feel like you've forgiven yourself or other people for whatever, because to be honest, if you want to go woo way out there, where you're going to end up is there's nothing to be forgiven. So it isn't working through, and it isn't trying to hold other people responsible. Don't give people your heart and then blame them for hurting it. It's ludicrous. It's like going to the mirror and saying, here, I've given you my wounds and I want you to play the poverty game with me. Will you see me as weak? Will you see me as poor? I want to blame you. I want to blame other people. This isn't working for me. Why isn't it working for me? I did everything, but it's not my fault. And now it hasn't happened. And I want you to come and hold me. Guess what? Yes, I'm a healer. I'm a mother. I'm a shaman. I'm a priestess. And all the work I do with my clients is uber loving. And I show up 10,000%. But I am no longer agreeing to a poverty story for anyone. And that doesn't mean you're wrong. It means I'm giving you a hand up. If you want to keep playing in circles and tribes and systems that where people are teaching over and over the same thing someone else said, watch for what is relevant to you and let go of the rest. Be your own authority in everything I say and everything anybody says. If you feel drawn to, let's just use an example like a rune. I want to know runes. I want to know, what are those? You know, I have a Celtic history. I would really like to know more about it. Awesome. Then you go on the internet, you go on YouTube, you watch a few videos, you find people you like their style, you look around for books, you look for free content, and maybe you buy one. Maybe you don't feel drawn to it. Maybe you just look up the symbols and print out a sheet and start to look at them. Maybe you draw them. Maybe you burn them into wood. Maybe you paint them on rocks. Maybe you go out into nature and just sit with one and the concept of it and call on nature spirits to help you understand, what is it? What does this mean? What's the symbol? What is the door that it's opening? What is the wisdom that I'm connected to? Why would I want to know about this right now? Then you don't have an agenda that says, I have to learn all the runes and be the best person at runes and get certified in runes and read every book ever about runes. That's not the way we're learning right now. Spiral. If you're learning in a spiral, you've already learned it. If you're drawn to it now and you don't remember it, that's your spirit coming back now, because we are entering the time when we can access our wise selves, our priestess selves, our healer selves, our medicine women selves, our rulers, are the people that reached some level of expertise, and our missions are all coming back to the forefront. Was it cut off? Did you abandon it? Do you want to honor it, complete it? Do you need to go through an initiation to recognize a wound, a trauma, something? If you have it in this life, it's connected to many other lives, period. I can tell you that. Your past lives are so important that to poo-poo past lives is so silly, just because we've known about them for a long time. Because we didn't know about them and understand the power. We didn't understand that they're all around us, that time's a spiral, that I can visit any time, that I can call that meet here, that the wisdom of the priestess, that the sacred feminine intuitive medicine, mastery, meaning to things is a different way of life. You look at life with a commitment that you came on a mission, that everything is sacred, that everything is here as part of your mission, and you're a piece of the fabric of life, and the tapestry of your life is being woven from the tapestry of all possible potentials, and that you picked certain things, and those are on your path. However, if you're spiraling back through another level of time, what happens if you are different now? Because you are. But if you don't recognize that you've changed, if you're still dragging the old mindsets, the old beliefs, the old worn out limits, the old way of thinking of yourself and of money, all of it needs to go. All of it. Money doesn't come from a job or a paycheck. It comes from source. Money doesn't come from how you do a job, how many degrees you have. It doesn't take a long time. There's no rules to any of it. for you to find your new best friend, for you to have a spiritual awakening, for you to find inner peace. It is right here, right now, no lie, at your fingertips. I'm enjoying this. However, I'm feeling like, okay. Something that came up in a circle that I'm in today that I felt so impacted by was the idea of belonging. I want to offer it. What is happening right now is so powerful that if you miss out on fully embodying who you can be, could be, are here to be, have the potential to be, what you could experience, there's no right way to do it. There is the intention. You need to make that decision that whatever are all the crazy things in your life that feel like they're sucking up your time and your energy, and that you're committed all over the world, and how could you possibly find time? It's all a lie. It's all an illusion. You created the illusion. First, make peace with time. For you to belong now, here, you have to not be in the past, not be in the future, and not be afraid of who you are. What's being afraid of who you are? I did this most of my life. I was trying to crawl out the back of my body. I was so lacked self-esteem so much that was tied to this theme of someone's going to judge me, someone's going to hate me, someone's going to hurt me, someone's going to take something from me, someone's going to kill me. I didn't have the words for that as a child, but I never felt like I belonged. I never felt like I was in the right place at the right time. When I was in the places I was told I should feel like I belong, like my home and my family. Now, you don't have to have massive, horrific abuse. I did not have that in your home to not feel like you belong, to feel like you weren't seen, or you weren't heard, or you weren't understood, or you weren't encouraged, or you weren't gifted with space or time or respect to discover who you are. And this is true for everyone. So let go of that story. Who cares if you had it, you didn't have it? If you want to play that game, that's fine. But you're not going to go the path I'm going. And I'm telling you where I'm going is to the era of peace. And I am not giving anything outside of me the power to keep me from absolutely entering that era of peace at my highest possible frequency, with the most possible freedom and healing of the past, transmutation, metamorphosis, transformation, whatever you want to call it, alchemize it. All of it is not bad. All of us accept, and then forgiveness happens. Accept it all. Don't accept it with conditions. Well, I'm going to accept this, but I have to tell you how I feel. I have to tell you that you made me upset. I have to tell you that this wasn't fair. I have to tell you that these people took my money. I have to tell you this drama, this poverty story, this victim thing that happened to me. Why? You seriously have to look at what you are attached to having to tell people. Because what are you doing? If you have to, if you say, I have to do this, and then you're doing it, one, you've just literally proclaimed that you have no power. I can't afford it. I don't have that time. I don't have the money. I don't have the support. I don't have whatever you're claiming you don't have. Who are you blaming? Who are you judging? Yourself, your past, your education, your mother, the economy, the president, the political environment. Look at how long you could play that game, and how many lives have you played that game, and do you really want to play that game from now on? I want to invite you into the path I'm moving into. I have been serious, but dedicated, better word, thank you, dedicated to my spiritual path since 1989. Before that, I was on it, but it was that time when the breakdown was so profound in my reality that I did not have a single pebble to hold on to. I did not know who I was. I didn't know what to believe. Nothing I was told manifested the way I thought it would. I did everything. I worked my ass off. I was, perfect, blah, 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 right? In the 3D world, in what I had been taught. I built a fashion design business. I threw myself into it. I put all my money back into it. I lived off of credit cards, and 3.5 years later, everything fell apart. I had to close it. I did not go into bankruptcy. I was able to pay all my bills and take care of that. However, Just the fact that people didn't pay me was not a reality I understood. What is that pattern? Is that all those horrible people? Do I go through my life saying that economy did that to me and now I'm never going to recover? I'm just going to say it's not fair. I worked hard. I did it all right. Why don't I get the rewards? My business was up to $1 million in sales at one point. And then when I closed it, I had no money and a whole lot of debt because I was so committed to what I was doing. I was taking all the money and putting it back into the business and putting my creative flow into it and putting everything into it. And it was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I wouldn't trade the breakdown for the world either, because it was a defining moment in my life. It was that Saturn return around 30 years old when everything breaks down. Now we're having those boom, 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 boom. Why wait 2 days, 3 weeks, 4 months, 2 years, 10 years, 5 lives to realize what's happening to you right now is fantastic. Why not claim it as fantastic? Why not explain it? Wow, that was really powerful. I was really hurt by that. And now I'm realizing, well, why am I choosing to be hurt? And why am I letting it trigger an emotion? And why am I giving my power away so I'm thinking about someone else? Is your mind running programs about worried about what you're going to do, worried about showing up on time, not happy with the way that person does? I need to talk to them because they upset me. This person didn't show up on time. Hey, you know what? Get out of your comfort zone. Go live in another country. You're going to get over all this being upset about people showing up on time and all this kind of stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I like appointments too. However, is it worth giving your power to? Is it worth giving your power to people who change appointments, to cut you off on the road, who show horrible things or tell stories? We tell stories about horrors that have happened to us. Oh my God, stop it. Don't go on social media and say, oh, look at this horrible thing these people did to each other and look at the pictures and we should think about it and we should talk about it. Oh my God, no. I don't want more of that. And you and I, we've all been convinced of the most epic bullshit. Oh, be meek and don't speak up and don't be yourself and let everybody go first and give and give and give and don't receive and don't ask. And one day after you're dead, maybe you'll be happy and get rewards. No, wrong. Just wrong. Okay. And I don't care if that upsets you because we all need to be upset. We need to be poked. We need to be like, hey, that's something I defend. Where are you fighting for your limitations? Where are you fighting for the world's limitations? Where do you want? But we have to fix this. We have to tell these people that, guess what? Good luck with that. Go to the planet of rules and laws and run around chasing each other for the rest of your friggin' eternity. I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game because I don't see you that way. I was gifted for a very long time in my life to see through. I'm a projector in human design. I'm a shaman and all these other things. Okay. So what happens? And then I went to schools and then I started to develop it. Why? Because my life fell apart. If I still kept having a successful fashion design business, it was fabulous. It was creative. I loved it. I would still be doing that. Is that great? No, maybe I'd have a lot of money. I don't know. Maybe my family we wouldn't have had this whole breakdown where I was disowned and I went through a divorce and I went through, a huge epic bankruptcy. That was all later. Okay. However, I don't think about my life that way. Well, maybe if that hadn't happened and those people hadn't done that, then this wouldn't have happened. I look at all of it as perfect. I accept all of it because then what can happen? All of it can be forgiven. And what does forgiveness mean? Give it back, put it down, stop carrying it around, stop tangling it up with you, stop enmeshing your heart in wanting to blame people, looking at your 5 pennies. I've been there. During my divorce, man, I was below zero in my bank account. First time in my life, I couldn't pay my bills after people didn't pay their bills. And it was a whole experience that just brought shame and fear and guilt and grief and regret. And I lived in that crap. If you've lived there, it's time to escape the victim vibe. I know that there's a part that may be telling you, oh, but it's not fair. Oh, but I can't just let them off the hook. Oh, I think that's not what it is. You're the one creating your reality. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to have people show up in your life that are kinder every day, that are more in harmony with who you're becoming, that see you and support you? But don't wait for them. Support yourself. We have to get out of judgment because the fifth dimension is calling us, and it's the fifth dimension is no judgment. It's the Akasha. It's where you just see this map of your life and go, wow, look at the patterns. Ooh, look at that. Wow, that was really painful, but look at what it spawned in me. Look at the wisdom I have now. Now I know I'm resilient. Ooh, look, I never went over to this thing in my life and I never gathered the pearls from that. Let me think about that. What is the best thing for me to do to gather the wisdom, to gather the pearls, to find the gems, to transmute all of it, to throw it on the sacred fire, to let it alchemize and let all the things that I think about it. Do not chase people down and try to sue them. Do not chase people down about any of the things that you feel happen to you. If you want flow and peace and ease and abundance in your financial streams, then you better look real close at how you feel about it. Are you feeling guilty? Are you feeling ashamed? Are you mad at some people because they didn't pay you? Are you mad at some people because they made promises to you? Maybe they didn't fulfill those promises. Do you feel guilty because you're not able to pay other people? Did you follow someone's advice, some psychic's advice, and it didn't happen, and now you're mad and you feel like, either mad at yourself, okay, or mad at them? Whatever it is, be aware you are choosing to take your power, the power of your voice, the power of your thought, the power of your focus, the power of your attention, and that's how you manifest. And everything is laid out in front of you. Everything, 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 everything. There is no limits. And if you desire it and you feel it and you want it, even if it's just a tiny little drop, it is leading you. It is calling you. Go into the cave. The grandmothers, the sacred mother is the cave, is the womb. It's not afraid of the dark. The dark is where the new seeds are planted to be loved, to be cared for, to be supported. And we are seeds on this planet at this time. And we have been cared for in a way that feels wackadoodle to us because we have been living the dark ages. And now we're accelerating so fast into higher states of consciousness that if we do not stop doing everything the way we did it, the way we were taught, chase it, plan it, review it. Do not speak it if you do not want it. Anything you find yourself speaking that you find you do not want, immediately transform it. Even if it's just peace, be still. That's the only thing that you have in the moment to transform some thought about, yeah, but it's their fault. Yeah, but they wronged me. Yeah, but they hurt me. Yeah, but this isn't fair. Yeah, but this other thing is going to happen. Yeah, but. Okay. I've had so much money. I've had no money. I've been so in debt. I've been full of shame about it. I've been through every aspect of money. And I used to wonder why. And then one day I realized, oh, my life path is to experience these things and experience the whole kaleidoscope. So when I see someone fighting for their poverty consciousness, for their lack, by trying to accuse other people or say, yes, but this, or to give your power away and say, well, but I only make this much money. So what? Nice for you. That's one itty bitty tiny weeny little stream, that crack that you've opened to this flood of abundance that's around you that can turn into anything you want, and you know how to do it. You're doing it every day, but you might be turning it into fear or blame or anger. You might be lots of anger coming up. I can't tell you how much anger that I have released this year, and I didn't think I carried anger. I had a shock during my divorce that a lot of anger came up. Not a shock, but I was taught not to be angry, so I suppressed it. And then I let a lot go then. But this is judgment anger. And the judgment is only ever of yourself. So if you feel like, yeah, but I'm mad at the Spanish who came here and burned all the Mayan books and burned the wisdom of the most advanced culture that ever lived and removed the beauty and harmony of the way that we could be living now if we could access those. But guess what? They're reappearing. And the elders are reappearing. And the retreats I'm doing in the next 6 months are going to be with this wisdom. They're going to be awakening these stones, speaking to these stones, speaking to this wisdom, talking to the ancient grandmothers, working with these spirit guides, and they're coming up all over. All over the world, we have suffered horrible things. And you could go back through time and you could look at every single one of them. There is no one who has not been a victim, and there is no one who has not been the perpetrator of that horror. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Now you can start your next step in life by saying, okay, here I am. I accept. I accept the dark and the light. I accept the good and the bad. I accept that I've judged it good and bad. I accept the things that I don't like and I don't want anymore because I can have a preference. And I accept the things that are ecstatic and wonderful. And I accept the things I have no idea are so wonderful, but are waiting for me on my path. And I accept the harmony and grace and wisdom and peace to be in this present moment, to hear and see my guidance, to connect with the grandmother wisdom, that wisdom inside of me and the earth and my body, but all my bodies, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. So what we're going to be doing is diving in now, just going to surrender to the grandmothers. Some of you, I know Deb was there. Hi, Lisa. Yes, the era of peace is 2027. It is a 52-year era. It is related to the Pleiades, Venus, and other Mayan wisdom. They were so wise. They had 28 or more calendars of interlocking cycles. They understood the energies within the energies, and they understood that all of this is happening without us needing to make it happen. We're on the ascending spiral of all of these interlocking energies. When you understand those, you can prophesize what will be coming energetically. Give me a sec. So we don't have to be masters of astrology and all these things. I've studied a lot of different things, but I'm not a master astrologer, certainly not in Western astrology. I am learning the Mayan sacred calendar, and I'm going to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into that wisdom, but that could take 16 lifetimes. And I'm not, just what we were talking about, I don't have like, oh God, I have to get there, oh, I have to get there now, or I'm not far enough along. In every moment, like right now, I arrive here with you, and I call the sacred temple, and I spend the morning, and I swam in the ocean, and my fractured foot is healing. I'm a month in or 5 weeks in almost, and I can I'm starting to walk a little different. I'm being very careful to heal it, and at the same time, I want to preserve my outdoor lifestyle, my active lifestyle. So I'm finding that balance, and I'm integrating everything that happened on my journey leading up to the trip to England, and now. Friday, I'm spending some time with my Mayan priest, and make sure you come Friday. He's going to come on the show, and we're going to pick his brain. We're going to talk about everything we're doing in the March retreat, the sites we're going to with him, why they're sacred, what is their purpose, what is the Mayan wisdom, what are the myths that we need to debunk to understand and reconnect to that sacred wisdom, because we're all here because we are the chosen ones, which is what is called the Maya. And then after, I'm doing some ceremonies with him to integrate that. So I'm very interested, because when we go through this, you guys all have gone through your own thing, right? This was huge, not just the year, but the last couple months. Now, it's not like integration. Like I've been just like, wow, sleeping a lot, dreaming a lot, meditating a lot, traveling the realms, processing things, not reaching and trying and pushing and forcing. The class that was going to start has been moved out to November, and it's going to be led by the grandmothers now. It's going to be a completely different format. It's going to be a daily format, 20 days in a row, where we're going to meet every day, because I keep asking what's the most effective way for us to get together, to open our skills, to create that. And the daily, I mean, literally meeting daily is beyond powerful, right? So it's a massive commitment, but from November 1st to the 21st, I hope you'll join me. We've just transformed the shop, so you can check it out. It's not starting for a couple of weeks. We'll share more about it. But the grandmothers have been coming in now. They've also asked me to come back to Sibyl Chaltun. So backing up a little bit, I was saying Deb was here for the Prosperity Magic class, the first one, 2 years ago, I believe. There's a gecko on the window, and he's come on the window now, so I was like seeing his whole outline. So how did the Prosperity Dreamweaving grandmothers come to me? Why did they start speaking to me? Let's dive a little bit into grandmother wisdom and energy. Everybody usually has a very loving reaction to it because it usually means love to us, safety, unconditional love, protection. As we reclaim the sacred feminine, there's aspects to it, typically called maiden, mother, crone. I don't use the word crone solely because it's been manipulated into an ugly word, an ugly meaning. So I say maiden, mother, sage. That's the wisdom of the older woman. But there's more. There's the conception. There's the birth, the baby. Then there's the young child, the magical child. And the young child holds the wounded child, the child of light, right? The magical child, the dreaming child, and the child that has been kidnapped. That's the word that I heard. Okay. Because it's like that part of the child, like freedom and creativity and belief, and therefore ability to see and sense all the dimensions and play in the magic realm. There are no barriers, that innocence, the innocent child. That's a good way to put it. Then there's the maiden, and the maiden is the coming of age. The maiden is the phase of the sacred feminine when you go from being the magical child. And it really starts around 7. Rudolf Steiner, Waldorf schools. I had a school for a while based on Waldorf, and just brilliant. His books, his philosophy, his understanding how we enter our bodies, how children become more aware at different points in their life, in their body, and they learn through stories. So we are becoming the storytellers again, and the grandmothers want us to come to the fire. They want us to listen to the storytellers and to be them, to remember that most of the traditions have been preserved orally, like the Maya, who had most of their things burned and then rewritten hundreds of years later through a Catholic lens and manipulated the same way the Bible was, and most sacred scripture at some point has been manipulated and changed. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't hold truths. It doesn't mean that it doesn't give us windows into wisdom. It does mean that it is an opinion and one way, and is just like anything else written now, the news or marketing. It's written with an angle in order to elicit a particular reaction from you. So are you being controlled by religion, religious thoughts, politicians, political views, particular schools, particular gender views, particular family or cultural views, racist views, anything that gives you a good, bad, me, them, judgment kind of perspective? What the grandmother does is embodies all these within her. Because if you think of your life cycle, like the cycle of time, the cycle of the stars, the precession of the equinoxes, the cycle of the zodiac signs, all of these cycles within cycles within cycles, and we are in it. And we are one of the newest manifestations of life form on the planet. Uh, Almost everything came before us, elements, colors, sound, harmonics, right? Stones, planets, stars, water, fire, so on. um, Mountains, and all these things are conscious. So, grandmother wisdom is remembering that everything is alive and being the one who now says, I am the wise one in my life, which means I hold the space of the grandmother. That means I already have experienced conception, birth, all the phases of the child, the maiden, the mother, the birthing, the creative, the warrioress, the shamaness, the healer, all the aspects of the creative woman phase around mother, but not just being a mother, birthing what? Birthing children, yes, birthing businesses, birthing paintings, birthing ideas, birthing communities, birthing everything that you've birthed. That's the mother phase, the creatrix of infinite worlds. This is one of our oracle cards. And then, as the mother becomes the wise one, there's the transition. This is what menopause is, although in indigenous cultures, they didn't have hot flashes. They had grasses and teas and all kinds of natural things. You don't have a big trauma in your body. That's a new world thing. So you could rewrite that too. What happens when you become the grandmother? You don't have to be that. Let's say you're 30 years old listening and say, well, I'm not the wise woman. Yeah, yes, but you have been, and you are for your own life now. And we're going to call on the grandmothers now. Now, what they want to do is come back again, because in the prosperity magic class, the original one, which is calling my attention. So it is in the shop if you would like to get it. We did it a couple of years ago. It was profound. It truly, I have to say, it was a doorway. I didn't know what they were going to do. I'm going to share with you now as we go into letting them speak, how they came to me and what they've called me to do that I'm going to do starting tomorrow. And I will call you in, and I will give you some keywords, some pictures, and maybe some videos of when I go. I don't know how they want me to share the experience, but for 7 days, I'm meant to go to this Temple of Venus in Sibil Chaltun, which is an hour from my house here. And it's a sacred site. We went to it in March with the group that went on the pilgrimage, where the sun rose in the temple on the equinox morning, comes through and gives us the third eye. Now, of course, that's not happening during the rest of the year, but there's a Temple of Venus. Perhaps you saw me share the picture of one of my clients who I took the group of women there, and I very strongly, they called me, they kept telling me I had to rearrange everything just to get there with them, specifically for this one woman. We went inside the temple. I always am speaking to the temple. It is speaking to me. I'm feeling the energies. It is telling me, here's where the vortex is. Here's where the cleansing is. Here's where the message is. The one spot, I said, here's the energy. And then I walked to the end, and everybody worked around, and Chris took some pictures, and she was there having a very profound experience. And Chris took a picture, and there was this huge green light, 3-wheeled light that appeared in her heart. These places, these stones are alive. All of the ancients are there, the wise ones, the ceremonies, the time is a spiral. There's so much right now that you could be aware of, that you could tune into around you. The grandmothers are there. Ceremonies you've been to are there. Sacred fires are there. What you only need to tune into in each eternal moment is what is optimal for you. And that's the secret, is to not get lost down wormholes, not get distracted by judgments, because the minute you judge, you drop out of acceptance. You don't have any power if you're not at acceptance or above, period. Even in courage, you only have a small amount of personal power. At trust, at willingness, at inspiration, even at hope, very weak. It's better, okay, than being deep in judgment. Blame, which is the second lowest state of consciousness. However, keep reminding yourself, and what am I not accepting? Where am I not allowing myself to belong to now? I want to belong to this now moment. To this now moment, what did my soul and my purpose have in mind? Why am I called to this moment? Why am I here at this moment? I'm ready and willing to listen and hear. I want to open those doors. If it means I have to go into my deepest fear, then okay. If it means I have to face my fear of money and asking for money, or changing my feelings around money, or feelings around self-worth, or feelings around speaking up, or feelings at the fear of retribution, being burned at the stake, threatened, controlled, and so on. So that's our story. We accept it. The story is that the sacred feminine, including killing physically women, threatening them, taking away their power, taking away their abilities to have a bank account, to have vote, to live alone, to pick your own vocation, to I don't know what, still not paid equally, right? All that is still happening. It's still unfolding. Okay, that's unfolding over there. Don't get caught up in it. Don't tell the story. Don't try to figure out the story. Don't go tell other people what they should do. Go in here. You can't change the mirror by telling the mirror to change. You cannot change the mirror. It's the smoking mirror. It's the obsidian mirror. It is the secret to your manifestation. And the grandmothers live with all that wisdom within them. And then they sit wise and they hold within them like the storyteller. You know how she has all the children sitting on her, all those classics, images from all the different cultures, where the big storyteller, the mother, the great mother, the creation mother, the primordial mother sits and she's huge and all the people and all the children are sitting on her. Why? Because the story we weave creates the reality we live. And the reality we live doesn't have to be what you see right now. Your reality and mine are not the same. I don't believe the same things you do. I don't have the same experiences you've had. I don't have the same skills and wisdom you have. And I don't have the same fears you have. We have similarities. If we're vibing together in the same place and time, there's something that we're doing together. We're repeating a spiral. We're together again. What I love about the retreats we're doing around the world now is that we're getting a group of people. And if you're coming, keep going, get onto this pilgrimage, make it your intention that you do these sacred journeys, that you make it a part of your life, that it is why you are here in this moment, that this time won't exist again, that if you do it now, then tomorrow you're in a new world. You have a different power. You have more freedom. If you keep saying wait, if you keep delaying with any language, so the eternal now holds everything. And it is Ish. It is the full sacred feminine. It is the uterus. It is the darkness where the seed is planted. And the sacred feminine doesn't fear death. It lets the beloved die in her arms. It absorbs that beloved. It composts it. It becomes that. It takes the wisdom. It just like peeing, right? It pees out. It lets go of all the rest and lets that go transform something else. But energy never dies. Don't chop off part of you. Accept all of you. All of you can be rewoven in this next spiral. Do you want to repeat? Do you want to repeat at a different level? What's the level you want? Ask for it. Ask the mother. The aspects of the mother, the grandmother, the maiden, the wise one, the expert, the medicine woman. Call on these parts of you, these archetypes, these truths, perhaps these lives you were or others you know, and they will come to you. They will come to you in form. They will come to you in dreams. They will come to you in answers. They will come to you in many ways. So now is the time for us to become the channel in constant flow. Not, okay, I had an experience, now I'm going to go back to my shitty life and my fear. No. Why? Stop it. Don't do it. Refuse it. Really listen to those words. So here's what happened, and I'm not sure. Let me see. So 2 years ago, when I went, I'll see if I have pictures from the Sibyl Shaltun. I went to the Temple of Venus, and Chris and I climbed to the top, and we sit about one layer down from the top. So it's like sitting on a, leaning against it, sitting on a layer of the pyramid. And this is the site, but this isn't happening when I'm going there. Okay, this is a different part of the site. But the initiations there are very powerful, of course. So what happens is that a dog came with us, which I always find very interesting. There's often pyramid dogs. And the pyramid dog came with us, and we sat down, we got comfortable. I got my little thing, whatever, I've got all my stuff, and I start breathing, and I start meditating. Of course, I've already talked to the guardians of the land. I've already activated our light bodies. I've already entered in sacred, the whole place is sacred space. I do everything in a sacred way. Please don't ever do anything in a non-sacred way. It's just never a good idea. Okay, you need to respect the land. You need to respect the power. And so what happens then? Well, I don't see it, so I'm going to show you Uxmal instead. This is not where I'm talking about, but I'm going to talk about this in a minute. And so there's the iguana right in the front there. And I'm breathing and whatever, and then I am starting to get deeper. These are all stargates, they're portals, and depending who you are, how you go there, what kind of activations you do, who you're with me or with someone like Miguel Angel, if you come on our retreats, we open the doors, we speak to the energies. You have a completely different experience than if you go alone or you go as a tourist or with someone else. Okay, so they're all different. And I was called to open my eyes, and I looked over. I was checking on Chris, and the dog was there, and there was Chris, and then there was somebody sitting on the other side of Chris. There was someone sitting like this against it, and I turned out to be a grandmother. And I kind of went, oh, I mean, very real. Okay. And I thought I didn't know somebody was here. And I turned to look the other way, and there was a grandmother. And then there was a grandmother. And about every, I don't know, 5 feet or something, I saw at least, and to be honest, there wasn't really that much room on the rest of the temple. So the temple was, the etheric temple had grown, had become. And there was a grandmother here, and then there. Now, every one of them, from what I could see, was a different race, right? Maybe Native American, maybe Mayan, maybe Chinese, or so on, okay? And they were all in different gowns, very representative of their medicine, like very ceremonial, not like some things we wear now, just beautiful and goddessy, very traditional. And they were all just sitting the same way, with their back against the temple, cross-legged, looking straight out. So I closed my eyes. I went back into my meditation, and then the portal opened up, and I felt the whole temple begin to move. Now, when you go to these places, sometimes the temple will move like a spaceship and go somewhere. Sometimes it just opens. Sometimes you raise your frequency and enter other dimensions, other colors. Sometimes beings appear. Sometimes we go down inside of, etherically down inside of the pyramid. That used to happen a lot. They guide us down into different chambers or down through the pyramid into the ground and into Atlantis, because these are all connected to Atlantis and they're built on the patterns of Atlantis. This is the Sacred Feminine University, and we will be going there in December and in March. And the Sacred Feminine University at Uxmal, this is the Pyramid of the Moon, and it's an enormous site, very sacred, and it's where Ixchel, Ixmucane, and the Mayan priestesses and goddesses and all of them were trained, as well as are there now calling us back again. So it literally, like, the whole pyramid kind of felt like it moved like that, and we went. And what happened throughout the rest of the time, short story, is that we would kind of move through time and space, kind of, and then we would land, and we were like in ancient China, and the temple was Chinese, and we were all in different wearing the same, something from that time, and we were watching. And we just landed, and we were there, and it was very real, and we were looking out, and then we would move, and we would go to a different time and a different country and a different culture, and sometimes maybe a different star planet, I'm not sure. So I don't know how long that went on. That's the generally what happened. When I came home from that, the Prosperity Grandmother Dreamweavers came through. And what happened with them was that they speak to me kind of as a group rather than as one grandmother. And they became one of the oracle cards in the Prosperity Magic Oracle deck, and they led the class. And the thing that they taught us in the class, which I did not understand at the time though, but at the time I knew it was time to surrender doing things the way that I had learned to do it. Chasing, forcing, planning, working hard, Not that you don't work, not that you don't spend time, not that you don't follow through. All those things have to happen. They just don't happen by us generating it, worrying about it. That keeps it away from us. That keeps us in a perpetual state of wanting it. We can't do that. We have to embody it. So the sacred feminine is full embodiment, or you're never going to get there. The sacred feminine energy is manifesting now, not one day when I'm dead, one day in 3 years, one day after I've done this and that person's done that. No, this is the time to pop out of that limit and say, okay, no, I'm not giving my attention to your poor story. I'm going to see you happy, healthy, and alive. I'm not giving my attention to this story about this terrible thing that happened. Do Ho'oponopono. Read about Dr. Len. What did he do? He cured an entire wing of criminally insane people who had done horrific things by never seeing them, by never talking to them. How's that possible? Why isn't that becoming the number one thing people are trying to learn? Because he looked at their charts and he looked at what they did and he went into the pain. He went into the grief. He embodied. And then he said, I'm so sorry that I'm a part of this because I'm conscious of it. That means I helped create this. And I love you and I love me and I love everybody. Please forgive us. Not that we did something wrong, but that I judged you, that you and I was part of creating this. If you're aware of it, you created it. Think how empowering that is. Don't get upset and try to blame everybody else. Take back your power. Accept. Okay. So the prosperity grandmother Dreamweavers told us, I'll just give you a few more of these incredible downloads from this beautiful place. They told us peace is the first thing you must access. If you do not find a state of peace, you cannot manifest, you cannot prosper, you cannot thrive, you cannot grow, you cannot become your spiritual potential, you cannot fulfill your mission. And that's why you're here. You're here to fulfill your spiritual mission. You're not here to make money. You're not here to become the best accountant. You're not here to do any of that. Do that. That's fun, great, wonderful, but that's not the purpose. You have a bigger purpose. Don't live your life not fulfilling your purpose and then go, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? I missed that opportunity. Okay. I want to inspire you to get off your butt and do it, because we all give our power away. We were taught to everyone else's agenda, everyone else's story, and the story that you, they, them hold my power, my wisdom, my prosperity, my love, whatever. Okay. Grow up, stand up, and realize how strong you are. Now, what happens is that you enter this temple. At the top of the pyramid is what sometimes is called the Holy of Holies, right? If you go in a church or a temple or a cathedral or a stone circle, there's a high altar. There's a central altar. All the temples in Egypt, everywhere you go. Why? What is it? It's the most powerful earth energies aligned with the most powerful intentions that have happened there over time. And you are tapping into that history. So you tap into the wisdom of what was done there, but are you tapping into it as pain? So if you go and you say, oh, it's so horrible what happened to these people, it's so horrible that these Spanish people came along, you could go anywhere on the planet and find somebody to blame. Okay, same thing anywhere. It's so bad. I feel so horrible for these people. These people are victimized. This is terrible. I feel grief in my heart. I did this for years. Okay, I went there learning and absorbing, but I hit a wall. And the doors didn't fly open to me to the deeper wisdom until I realized I was judging anyone who was not looking like they were respecting sacredness or Mayan wisdom, or who had interrupted the Greeks or any culture. Okay, all of that. Now, here's the thing. I can spend my whole life saying I'm on the right side. I'm right. You're wrong. What good does that do me? I'm not going to get to the next level of my consciousness, and neither are you. So let's get to the next level. Let's enter the temple. Now, excuse me. Okay. Woo. Susan, you are a wisdom keeper. Exactly. It was so wonderful because it's so wonderful when you realize it, and that's all that matters, is that you realize it, you declare it, you accept it, you speak from it, you act like it, and you become self-realized inside of that. That's it, period, end of story. Everything else will fade away. The fear fades away, the lack fades away, the need to blame other people or to carry around the old stories. You want everyone to be free because you want to be free, because you want to take that wisdom that you have inside of you and you want to free it and give it. You want to share it. When you get called to these different places and you go there, they activate you. You know, Susan was here doing the sacred work at the temples. So the ones that call you in spirit, in pictures, in person, let them speak to you. Then ask for the divine mother, for the love, for the sacred wisdom of truth, for the light to come to you, not the pain, not the fear, not the war, because it's all there, right? The rise, the fall, the peak, the wisdom, the use of the power in the best way, the use of the power in the not best way. It exists everywhere. So I've learned over time to enter these sacred places and to go, whatever needs healing, whatever fear, pain, past, judgment, all of that, that's still here, that's holding on in the stones, that people are tuning into when they come and they tell them these stupid stories about cutting people's heads off and sacrificing people, which they did not do, they did not do, they did not do. And then these people go out in the world and have this in their head. We're creating a false history. And this isn't the only place that this happens. It's not true. So I hold wisdom and say any of that can flow through me and out. There is already installed in my light body a way for that to go through and out. And then I'm here to awaken, to talk to activate, to communicate with, to amplify, to open the wisdom of the sacred heart. I call it the Mayan blue heart of wisdom, the sacred information, which is why now we get to go on retreat with Miguel Angel and a whole nother level of the understanding of the sacred symbols, the sacred purpose of these temples, the sacred history of what happened, how people were prepared, what it meant. It goes so deep. There are layers upon layers upon layers. I will be spending the rest of my life going into this wisdom because every layer frees me, every layer empowers me, every layer shows me that the prosperity is already here. That if I stop telling the story that I don't have the money, or if the money shows up, or that this other obligations I have, okay, whatever your story is, and don't think that I'm making fun of you having a life. I'm not. We're all this way. And you are in your life right now. So if you have certain relationships and obligations and jobs and whatever you do in your day, it's not to turn around and suddenly go, well, it's not fair. I have this and I can't just walk away from these people. You start to ask for something different and let the universe start to untangle you, unravel you, show you. Or is it time for you to free somebody that you've been supporting, that whether it's money or time or driving them or something like that? Maybe a friend of mine recently, their son went to college and they're helping drive them in the morning, but then certain things happened, so it became like, can you take the bus? Should you get your own car? Like looking at the options of transforming that relationship, and then going through perhaps a little bit of grief or guilt that, well, I really should be there, but I can't, and I have to let them grow up. And then, like that stuff will unfold and will unravel in beautiful ways if we don't tell a story of they're going to be mad at me, and they might be mad at you, and that's okay. We can't control that. Stop wanting it to make everyone happy. So that is a wisdom that I'm going to just shift here to another slide so we can hear some grandmother wisdom. Here we go. That is a story we have to stop telling, is handing our power to pain and fear. So very quickly, I want to share something because it's really turning out to be an incredibly powerful thing for me. And I don't know when, sometime in the last couple of weeks, I was on Facebook. I don't scroll Typically, I don't put anything into my head, even though it does find nice things for me, usually around Mayan artifacts and stuff. I only go to share about my shows or maybe to see what Maria's up to, type of thing. But I happened to see, and of course, it was divinely aligned, a horrific thing. Somebody posted a picture of something that they used to do, hopefully they don't still do somewhere, and a description of the horror of it and what it was, and the person was sitting there, just absolute horror. Okay, I just horror. Okay, every aspect of torture, horror, disrespect, just I don't know, and it hit every emotion and button within me. Those of you who've been with me for a while know that I have a huge history of torture, on many different levels, not just like, oh, burned at the stake for being a witch or being smart or being this or being that, but many lives around debtor's prison and major fears around holding on to money, keeping money, so creating patterns of making money, getting rid of money, and all of that. We all have these things. So as we heal them, they become wisdom. They become abilities for us to hold space in a way that we choose, that doesn't include those. Not because we become that pain and that fear and we just let it happen and we just say it's okay that it happened. No, but because we refuse to give our emotional power, to give our mind, to give our mental abilities, to give our spiritual essence to war, pain, torture, fear. No. And any part of me, I embody things. They become very real to me. I'm a manifester on steroids. So when I see a horror movie, which I don't watch, I will see it and then I will become it. And then it will start happening to me. And that's how real it becomes. That's why, please don't do that. I mean, seriously, please don't do that. Why? Let's not go down that road. So the thing about it is that it was so obviously designed for me to see. And it was so profoundly horrific that I just sat there and went, oh God, no. And I started to go down into the pain and to the fear and to the torture and the horror and why and how could, and oh my gosh. And I thought to myself, this is no different than actually having it happen and having to go through it and having to recover from it. So let's just take, like your best friend died and you have to recover from that grief, or your husband or somebody you love, right? That's major. And if you've been through it, you know that you went through phases, and it's empowering, really challenging. So I spent, I think, maybe about a day doing a lot of introspection around it. And I would go into it and then I would erase it and I'd say, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. And I did a lot of Ho'oponopono. And I was apologizing my ass off to myself and to the universe and to any level of creation where I was a part of creating that horror. On any level, I didn't blame anybody. I wasn't out there going, oh, these horrible people, they should all be, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's inside of me. That's the only place it exists, here now in me. Then that makes it real. Then I'm taking something that's dead and infusing it with life. If I'm speaking of it, if I'm thinking of it, if I'm embodying it, if I'm feeling it, if you do that about the past, if you do that about something that upset you, if you do that about something someone did to you, if you do that about your fear of money, if you do that about projecting something bad result that might happen, no. Okay. So at some point I was like, I was going into it because I'm like, this is not happening anymore. I refuse to hand over my power. I refuse to let it take time for me to recover from this. I refuse, not just like I erase it. No, not now, no. Find a happy place, find a happy place. Sometimes you have to do that. Fill your head, find with the positive. Do it if you need to the point of distraction, until then you can process the energy and then call the grandmothers and then get the copal out and then burn, because the fire element is here to support us. Now, in the new class, the Ancestor Magic class, the Ancestor Secrets class, that the Alchemy Abundance class is going to turn into the 20 days, we are going to work with the 4 elements, the 4 cardinal directions, the 4 guardians. Okay, we're going to work with the 4 bodies, emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. And every day we're going to have about 45-minute live meeting where we're going to get a channeling from the grandmothers. We're going to have a tiny little tidbit, a niblet of something. Like, do you have this fear? Or is this what you're saying? Here's what we're going to replace it with. Here's the activation. And you're going to go into your day. And it's going to be so profound because in 20 days, you're going to rewire your brain. You're going to rewire emotion. You're going to cleanse yourself. It's just going to be incredible. But I don't have I do have details, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. So the key is that if we're going to heal the chaos and weave peace, we cannot ignore the chaos. We have to accept the chaos, but we can't retell the story of chaos. So how do you accept it? Acknowledge it. Well, 1, you accept it, but doesn't mean you have to talk about it. Doesn't mean you have to go into how terrible it is. Doesn't mean you have to feel emotional about it. You don't have to give it any particular story. You can change the story or you can neutralize it into no story. Be the story teller. This seems to be the theme that's coming up. Chris asked me, I don't do a lot of readings for Chris, just want to make sure the candle's okay. Even though I live with him, you would think that I would be doing constant readings and meditations for Chris, but that's not the way it works. And so he asked me, we were sitting together doing our afternoon together, and he said something like, what's the next path for me, or who have I become, or I can't remember how he put it. And because we've had just massive transformation this year, like most of you. We've been going very, very deep into our spiritual path. We've been listening very, very carefully to our purpose, to our guides. We've been re-examining who we are, what we do, how we speak, how we do it. And coming back from England, we really just rested a lot and rejuvenated a lot to let it integrate, not because anything bad happened. Now, weaving peace means that every word you speak, every feeling you have, everything you envision is literally weaving the fabric in front of you of today, tomorrow, the next day. Will there be some things from the past in today, tomorrow, the next day that aren't the way you want them? Of course. Don't get upset about it. Stop making it have to be anything. Be in the present moment, accept what it is. Because in acceptance, you get let go, you forgive of everything. And now you can be unconditional love. You can be compassion. You can be in harmony. And you can hear and see that the chaos is divine as much as the peace, and that it is your choice and your preference of where you wish to live now. So when we have the opportunity to go through a transformation like we've been through, and then literally sit with it and make new choices and decide to be a new person, this is when you're going to see a change. So the reason for them wanting me to change completely the format and how this is delivered is that this is priestess training. This is wisdom training. This is activating your lineages, your soul lineages. This is ancestor magic. This is what is speaking to us, and this is what has to happen. This is the call on Friday, so make sure you join me right here. And this is the class we're doing for 20 days of sacred alchemy. So it is around the idea of abundance. It is around alchemy because that is sacred magic. Magic simply means understanding energy and working with it, whether you call it physics, quantum physics, whether you call it alchemy, chemistry, whether you call it shamanic, whether you call it any level of mystery, magic, wisdom, knowledge, remote viewing, clairaudience, clairsentience, all of these things, your telepathic structure has to come alive. And the grandmother said that we are the ones because we hold you in love. We hold you in unconditional love, and we embody every phase. It doesn't matter what phase you're at, you're going to go through it again, and you're going to die to that phase, and you're going to be reborn. And we love you in death, and we love you in birth, and we love you in between, and we love you in failure, and we love you in success. And we don't care if you are a success according to them, or your past self. We don't care what failures you have. We don't care how much money you have. We don't care what you look like. We don't care if you're fat. We don't care if you're thin. We don't care if you're rich. We don't care if you've taken 400 classes. We don't care if you've ever even heard of a priestess. We love you. What do we need? We need to become unconditional love. How do we become unconditional love if we don't belong? if we don't belong to this moment. You don't belong to your family. You don't belong to your home. You don't belong to your past. You don't belong to your culture or your race or your political system or your country. Let go of all of that. You belong to this moment. You belong because you chose it. And now is the time. If you belong, you feel at home, you feel safe, you feel alive, you feel worthy and willing to accept yourself, to explore, to be creative, to rest, to nurture, to grow, to sprout, to allow the cycles. We have to allow the cycles. So in 20 days, which is a sacred Mayan number, we will circle through every day sign. And in 21 days, we will have our ceremony, our initiation. You will have gone through something, maybe many different cycles, maybe many different initiations. I don't know. So the Grandmother Prosperity Dreamweavers are here. And I'm going to take a few more minutes. Thank you for staying with me. There's always so much that they want to say. I need to do more frequently calls. So if you get the Prosperity Magic Oracle deck, and if you're interested in it, I know it's not on the shop. We are having we're figuring out how to get it listed on the shop because of the shipping issue, depending where you live. So right now, the best thing to do is to email us at ASST@nanakasha.com, and you can and say, I would like to buy the Oracle deck. We're getting it on Amazon as well, and we have them in stock at the printers. And I highly recommend it. We're going to keep working with the mysteries. Some of the other Sacred Feminine mysteries will probably be coming in during this 20 days. And the 20 days is for you to have a container where you can, there it is. So you can go over here, you can check out, just be aware that it's going to take me a few more days to sit with all of the information that the grandmothers have downloaded into me in the last week. Since this thing happened with the horror, what happened was I went as deep as I could into it because of my history of, I don't want to feel the grief. My daughter died. I don't want to feel the loss. I don't want to feel regret. And not fearing it, though. I'm not giving my power to it anymore, period. End of story. There's going to come a point where your shaman, where your teacher, where your wise one, whoever you look to in that moment, is going to look at you and say, just do it. You're done. Stop seeking more answers. Stop asking. Stop telling your story. Turn around. Let go of your story. Stand in the eternal now. Shed everything. Disrobe. And then do it. Step into what's next. Because when you look back, you will see a perfect path, but you don't know what that path is. So you have to step in uncertainty. So the Prosperity Grandmother Dreamweavers, these are the ones who first came to me. This was the lady that was sitting closest to me. And they said, peace is the number one state that we must embody. Peace is a very high state of consciousness. It is very close to enlightenment, joy, reverence, those kinds of things. And at peace, it's not boring. It's not like we're all just like, oh. It is the birthplace of all magnificent creations, the ones that you're here to make. How can you create them if you keep retelling the story of pain and lack and fear? If you don't want it, don't speak it. The minute you speak it, replace it. Because we live in a spiral, we actually can change the past. We can go circle back around and say, oh, that pattern's coming up again. Oh, that I thought I didn't judge people anymore. Well, I don't judge people the way I used to, but now I get to see a new layer of it. Do I have to go, oh, this is painful again? I'm not. No, why bring that there? You don't live in that time anymore. Stop letting the past determine the future. Show up in the present moment. I'm at a point in the spiral where it's brand new. All right. And what happens is that we become the most powerful beings when we become self-aware, self-realized, self-empowered, self-directed, self-authority. We've been taught to give our power to everybody else. Everybody else knows what's right. Tell me what to do. Tell me what I did wrong. And yes, do you need help? Do you need guides? Do you need mentors? Do you need healers? Do you need support? Do you need love along the way? Yes. So maybe you need me sometimes, and maybe you need someone else sometimes, and maybe you only need the sun. Maybe you need some sunrise medicine. Go find it. Make it happen. Don't tell the story as, oh, I can't because I have all this stuff. Get up earlier. How can I do that? How could I get more sun medicine? Oh, my goodness, I didn't even think through the how. And suddenly this got canceled and I have 3 hours in the afternoon to go outside. Now I get to have some sun medicine. Like, let the universe do this for us, right? So when we come into a place where we have nothing, let me just see if I can find the right one. Here it is. Nothing except the present moment. And we're fully present and we've accepted all of us and we're not hiding part of us and we're not stuffing part of us down and now we're not desperate and we're not trying to get the answer and we're not hoping that this is the moment that everything's going to change. We've decided this is the moment that everything's going to change. We have now arrived at the moment that everything has changed. We're not speaking of hoping and wanting. We're not repeating the past. We're not telling what happened to us. We're not giving that our attention, our power, our words. There is no way for me to change that for you. You create things with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your beliefs, and with your words. It happens every day, all day long. How often you say the same thing is going to be how intense it is in your life, how much it's showing up, how powerful it feels it is, how intense or real or permanent or solid it feels it is, but it's not solid. There's no such thing. Okay. So coming on the retreat in March with Maria and I and Miguel is going to, what I've designed is blowing my mind now because I got the idea and then I started putting it together and then the logistics and so on. And now I'm absorbing, I'm speaking to the land, I'm talking to the time. They're showing me the full moon eclipse is happening then, the same one that we were in September. If you were there with us in September, you definitely want to come to this one. If there's something else inside of this upcoming eclipse in the fire horse year, like what is happening? What's going to happen now is that we are going to remember our truth and our power and our wisdom and the ability we have right now, right here, to change. There is no waiting. Don't get mad if it doesn't change, because if you go, so something that I heard myself saying that is easy kind of example to give you is as you learn to control what you say, then you have to control what you say inside, because you maybe don't say it out loud, but then you say it inside because you can't stop there, but that sucked. Oh, okay. So it's like, oh, well, actually, I'm going to use the example of a client who said, I've focused on my business and I created all my products and I put myself out there and I've done this and I've done that and I've poured myself into it and nobody's showing up and nobody's commenting and nobody's buying and nobody's paying attention to me and nobody cares about what I did and I'm not making any money. Sounds like a perfectly reasonable. And if you were one of my clients or students and you showed up, that would be perfectly acceptable to report inside of our context. However, how many people are you talking about that with? Are you walking around all day saying that story to yourself in your head? Yeah, well, nobody's showing up. I heard myself say that sometime this year, like, well, something like, okay, thinking about what's the next step. And then my poor girl pulled my head over here and said, well, I did that, but nobody cared. And I went, what? Oh my God, I'm not living that story. Do I want that to happen again? Then you can say, but that's what's happening, but that's what's true, but that's what's real, but that's what I felt. Who cares? You can feel something else. You can choose something else. Do you want to keep telling that story? It does not own you. It does not own your power. You chose to give it your power. If somebody's upsetting you and all day long you're thinking about them and thinking about them, or you see a horror show like I did and you keep thinking about it, you're adding to it, you're creating it, you're making it real, and you're in a process of transmuting it. So immediately say, okay, I'm transmuting this. Thank you. I love you. Forgive me. I'm sorry. No, I am not going into it. I'm not recreating it. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing me that this is inside of me. Thank you for showing me that I have to choose. So what happened to me? I went deep into it one day and I went, okay, let's do this thing just face to face. And all of a sudden, the horror, the pain, the grief, the all the feelings in the body that show up when you remember things like torture and blah, okay, they just all went and turned into a big, thick, heavy energy all through my womb, all around my private parts and up into my solar plexus, my belly button, really right in here, just like, which is where all that horrifying torture, manipulation, and abuse really can focus, right? And that's why we do the sacral sessions. If you want to do a session, that's a powerful one. And then it was like I came out. It didn't really pop out, but it's similar to a flower and a bud. And then I slipped out. It's like tight, 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 tight bud. And then all of a sudden, I didn't even like, oh, it opened and the flower opened. None of that happened. It's like it cracked just enough for the essence, for the ghost, for the spirit, for the wisdom, for the mist, however you want to see it, to come out, the least little crack. And whoop, and I stood up like a genie, and I was huge, and I was tall, and I was strong, and I felt very strong, like masculine energy, like that kind of strength. And I was standing over that little girl that was in the torture chair, that was doing this experience, that came back, and all the horrors that were living inside of me, and they were gone. And what was gone is I said, no, I'm not doing that. Oh my gosh, that's an illusion. That's an agreement. That's somebody who hijacked my mind. You can't convince me to believe in that. You can't convince me to worry about that. You can't convince me to waste my energy on that. No, I'm not doing it. Forget it. And what happens then? Wow. It was like literally stepping out of one reality and staring at the reality that you've lived in, and then seeing little energetic, remnants of all through time of different similar painful things, but they're all energy. The story is the only thing that holds it together in a particular aspect, right? And this is the key right now. You can't belong to the new era of peace. You can't belong to I'm a goddess who creates beautiful things and a wonderful world, and I live in peace and harmony, if you're telling a story of lack, fear, weakness, victimhood, what they did to me before, what they're going to do to me now, it's going to happen again. You can't do it. You have to say no. You have to hear me, or hear your wisdom keeper, or hear your angels, or hear your spirit guides. You need to hear something. Maybe the hummingbird, maybe the wolf, maybe the whale, maybe the dolphin. What is your spirit guide? What is the totem coming to you now that says, just do it? Spirituality has to take action. You can't wait any longer. Stop waiting to be rescued. You have what you need. Don't follow people around and keep telling your sad story unless you want to live in it. And then realize that you're telling it, and don't blame anyone else. Own your power and say, yes, I want to live in this victimhood. Yes, I want to feel guilty. Yes, I want to feel shame. Yes, I want to manifest more of this. Yes, I want to feel like I can't break free of this pattern. Yes, I want to feel like I'm poor and this person wronged me and that person should have acted that way. I want to feel that way. Then do it. Do it all the way. Claim it and be it and embody it and soak yourself in it, and then say, F it, and get done with it. Because unless you do it and walk out of it, you're going to keep recreating it. But it's okay. There's no judgment. The mother's here, the grandmother's here, the love is here, the time is here, the prosperity is here, the happiness is here, the abundance is here, the prosperity is here. Your gift of your beautiful community is here. But if you're running around looking for a community like, oh, are you going to pet me and feel sorry for my wounds? You're going to find plenty. Go find them. And then be aware what you've chosen. Oh, well, these people, they pet me and they listen to my wounds and they keep telling me the same thing. Like, go ground yourself and go do that. Fine. Mother Mary came to me and told me the world's falling apart and all these people are bad and I've got to go save the world. Okay, go do that. But look at the underlying energy. What are you doing? Are you saving the world through blame and guilt and judgment? Then you're not healing the world. You're just bringing judgment in a new form. You're being just like the what are those people called? Missionaries. who think they know better for other people that they don't know. They don't go ask those people. They don't learn from those people. They don't know what their wisdom is. They don't listen to that land. They don't know what their culture is. They don't know what anything about it, but they decide they know better, and they go over there and they say, you're going to listen to me. You're going to change for me. You're going to do things my way because I'm right. You're only right for you. You can choose from the vast array of stuff in the world, but you're only right for you. And then if you say, I like this, me, I like authentic people, loving people. I like people who are willing to show up in their pain, in their fear, but not have to repeat it. Does that mean that if you're still repeating a pattern, you're bad and I don't want to deal with you? Hell no, hell no. Honey, you know how many years I had patterns I couldn't break? I remember my friend who I went through master level hypnosis. We broke boards together. We ate fire. We walked on fire. We walked on broken glass. I did all of that stuff. And we would hypnotize each other. And one day I came out of a very powerful session and I looked at him and I said, wow, when is it not going to be about my dad? You know, please me and my patterns with my dad and pleasing my dad. And he goes, I know, right? Like, there's nothing wrong that it took me years and years and years because that's what was happening at the time. That was the best I could do at the time. And so looking at the past is a waste of time. Have you noticed how younger people right now want to look at an era behind us and judge it from the perspective now? You can't go back and judge the 70s from who you are now. You can't use your awareness, your perspective, your understanding of the 1940s and look at the 1970s and be able to understand it. You're not allowed to judge that, but you might. And if you do that, well, you're wrong and I'm going to cancel you and you're this and you're going to, whatever. I like the idea that you're getting rid of things in your life that aren't a part of your reality, but are you doing it out of judgment? Are you doing it out of pain? Or are you doing it out of weaving away and weaving in? So there's so much going on right now. I'm going to close. And what I'm going to do is say, look here, we're going to do another call. I might do it right now. I don't know, where we're going to get some transmissions. So the timeless magic, the grandmother wisdom, the eternal prosperity, source energy, and manifesting in flow. I want you to tune into this. I want you to look at this divine guide, these wisdom keepers. They are asking you to find peace. They said that ultimately, peace leads you to your power, which leads you to your purpose, which leads you to prosperity. And without all of those, you do not have the energetic landscape, environment within you, mind, emotion, body, spirit, to foster, to host the reality you want. But that's what you came here for. You came here. So the prosperity grandmothers are dreamweavers. And what does that mean? Well, they're wise. They're timeless. They see all time. They're in the infinite time here. But what is she doing? She's weaving with the full color spectrum. And she's weaving with the infinite time, any place, any star, any planet. She has the wisdom of the spherical consciousness. That's the flower of life. And then as she weaves, the sacred symbols that help to form life, to create form, start to rise out of these energies. You see the infinity symbol. You see the star tetrahedron or the Merkaba. You see the spiral. All of these are sacred symbols that have meanings, that open portals. So it is time for you to tap back into your wisdom, to go through priestess training. You don't have to be a priestess. That means wisdom training, to remember your wise self, your magic self. We're all magic. We all know how to work with energies. We all know how to work with physics, Newtonian physics, quantum physics, spiritual technology. All forms of energies interact, harmonics, colors, elements. We need to go back and realize they're alive, they're wise, they're here. We can change the weather by talking to it. It isn't that big of a deal. But if you did it, all the muggles would freak out. Would you freak out? Can you really own that amount of power? What if you just went, it is done, it is done, it is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you shed all of the identities that kept you poor, limited. Could you handle who you were right then? Could you step out of that What would it look like? Have you written it down? Have you imagined it? Have you talked to it? If you don't declare it, if you don't decide, what am I going to use my words for? What am I going to use my thoughts for? When I find myself saying something like, well, that sucks, or that's got, here's something that happened on the plane on the way back is I was in a wheelchair because of my broken foot, and Chris was in a wheelchair because that's who he is. There's a beautiful lizard over here doing a little thing and puffing out this and looks like a little dinosaur. Thank you, Pumpkin. And it was fascinating personally to be in a wheelchair because you're kind of at the mercy of everybody else. So it's wonderful. They're very helpful, but you kind of get, oh, stick over here, wait, and then they come and you don't have the power to like, let's go, make it happen, get to the head of the line or any of that stuff. And so one place, I can't remember where. Oh yeah, it was in Frankfurt. So we flew from London to Frankfurt and then we changed planes. And that was the plane we got on to fly all the way over the ocean back here to Cancun, to Mexico. And so they brought two wheelchairs. There's Chris and I, and there was another guy or two, one more guy in a wheelchair with a broken leg. And so this was those airports where you have to go out onto the tarmac and climb up the stairs to get in the plane. I don't know if you've been there, very common in Europe. And so everybody at the gate, we went through, and then they pulled a bus up and they put everybody on a bus and then they drove. And they brought a special bus just for the people who were in a wheelchair, me and Chris and this other guy. And they drove the buses and we drove and drove and drove and drove and drove like to another town practically to way out to the airplane. And then we got there before the bus of all the people. And, you know, like when you get on and you need extra help, it's nice that they let you get on early. And I was like, oh, good. I'm so glad we got here early. But guess what? Our bus went around to the side and then just sat there. And we just sat there. And then I watched the other bus pull up and I watched all the people get off and I watched them all start to go up the stairs. And I said, oh, great. The zoo has arrived. And I instantly saw my words, because what did that mean? I just reported, declared that I thought what that meant is that, oh, great, we missed our opportunity to be the first ones on. Now it's going to be hard for us to get on. Now this is going to interrupt our flow. This is going to be inconvenient. This is going to take more time. I'm literally asking the universe to make it difficult for me by saying that's what that means, instead of just going, oh, that's interesting, because I had no idea what they were going to do. Do you know what they did? They took us onto this little container, this little room, and then on a lift that lifted it up. And we entered through a completely different door directly in because we couldn't climb stairs. And everybody else got on, and it took a while. We sat there for a while before they opened that separate door. And when we did, of course, it just opened up. There was no one in the aisles. They came over. They helped us. It was so easy. So why do I want to project that this whole thing, of which I have no idea how it's going to unfold, so I can just trust the universe to make it unfold in a beautiful way? I just see the end. Isn't this nice? All these people helping us. Isn't this wonderful that it's so easy to do this? Isn't it wonderful that they have so much help? That's generally was my thought. But that old little negative voice popped up. Oh, great. So where are you seeing that? Where are you doing that? Okay. So we're going to close and we're going to talk to the grandmothers again another time. So I'm just going to take a moment right now and one thing is I do want to share is today. So the Maya, one thing I'm going to get to share with you in the 20-day challenge is a little bit about the 20 Mayan day signs. This is such a profound astrology or wisdom. It's difficult to really quantify what it is that I have found. I don't know. It's so deep and so beautiful. If you think that time, each day is carried by a different energy, maybe a person, and that person has a different expertise. They have a different skill. They have a different wisdom, a different purpose, a different role. So every single day offers us this wisdom this being, this energy, this consciousness. And most of the world doesn't know what it is. So they're just walking through each day, busy, taking care of their schedule, completely ignoring the energies. So my parents moved in the last couple of weeks. My one daughter moved this last week, and her move was so stressful to her that she didn't want to talk to me about it. And I was like, how's it going? Oh, I hope after the hard day of moving, I hope you have a really good dinner, planned, make sure you give me your address, just fun things like that. And a couple days ago, she got really mad and she told us all on text that if we didn't stop asking her, she wasn't going to tell us a thing and she was going to cancel and cut us all off. And I looked at that and I thought, what an interesting energy. And then I realized that was the day. It was 3 Etznab, and 3 to the Maya is a very discordant energy day, energetically. And Etznab cuts through, cuts away, and whatever the energies were. But it was a volatile day where if you knew going in, you would have those energies, you would have that wisdom. This is about us wise, tapping those wise parts of us, right? And saying, I'm not going to have those kind of conversations. Not that anybody could have guessed you would get upset about that. It really is not a big deal. Just was interesting to see the energy of the days does affect us. So let me share today. Today is 5 Imish. And I might have mentioned at the beginning, I went in the water and I made sure I got swimming in because Imish is about water and oceans and dolphins. It's about the subconscious. It's about the deep, deep psychic powers. It's about both sides of it, though. Everything is created in both sides. There's no, oh, it's all good. Oh, it's all psychic powers and clairaudience and beautiful communications with angels and all that. It's also insanity and obsession and desperation and all of that. It's both sides. And it's a very deep sign and it's a very powerful sign. And 5 is a very interesting energy as well, because the two combine to create a unique energy just for that day. 5 Imish is different than a 6 Imish, okay? So I'm going to just share with you from this beautiful app here. Those who are able to connect to the beyond, like us, to alternate realities, are either ahead or out of their time. 5, Ho can take you to the many worlds of Imish. That's the water sign, this beautiful sign of the dolphin, faster than you think. So take a measured breath before you plunge in. To survive such a trip with your mind fully intact does take a fair amount of psychic strength and stability. Luckily, you have Kaban's level-headed essence to ground you today as you explore different dimensions of your life and of the questions or worries you may have, or the possibilities for the kind of future you want to create. Kaban is the energy of this 13-day period. So there's many layers to the Mayan system. The Kaban is intelligence. So we're in a new creativity, new projects, intelligence, seeing things from a new perspective. That's kind of an overriding energy of this. We're on day 5 of 13 days. And today is this deep psychic powers day, this ability to go deeper. And what are you going to use that for? All right, so enjoy and reach out to me if you're interested in the retreats. It's a really beautiful time. I have time right now to talk to some people individually. A lot of people don't seem to understand exactly what we're doing on the retreats, and so it's important that I can share with you. I can answer your questions, whether it's logistically, how to travel to Mexico, which retreat's best for me, whatever. If you have physical challenges, if you want to know what it's going to be like, what's the level of activity and all of that. And I highly recommend that you take today and walk with the grandmothers. So we're going to take a moment to take a deep breath in. We give great thanks for this sacred space, for this beautiful information, for this transmission, for this opening, for this healing, for this possibilities. As we go into our day, we ask to take this into ourselves, into our mind, into our spirit, into our body, into our emotions, into our life, to see our words and own them, to take our mind, to take our thoughts, to take our feelings back and own the power we have to let go of guilt and regret and stand in acceptance, forgiveness, compassion, and harmony. Let there be love. Let there be acceptance. Let there be freedom. Timeless wisdom, timeless magic, eternal prosperity. I am one with the infinite flow. Infinite supply is with me, around me, and pours through me 24/7. I accept, I receive, and I give great thanks. And so it is, so it is. Namaste. In Lak'ech, I am another you. Alakin, you are another me. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody. Hi, Solik. Hi, Marnie. Oh my gosh, you love the way that you say sage instead of crow. Absolutely. A wisdom spreader. I love it. Yes, you are, Susan, and you're such a strong, incredible being. Thank you, all of you. I love you dearly. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.